coronavirus situation in Hawaii. Here's EBC Hawaii Bureau Chief Alfred Acenas.
Aloha! Here's the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak in Hawaii. As of today, March 20th, there are 37, I say again, 37 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, up from 26 yesterday, the majority of which still remain on Oahu Island, where 80 to 90% of Hawaii's population is located. Now, 2 of the 11 additional cases were categorized as community spread, meaning that the patients had no travel history or recent history, nor immediate contact with travelers or tourists, which then triggers the discussion and debate about the tourism industry being responsible for the vast majority of these confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Hawaii. We're going to go back to that topic in a bit because that has quite a bit of detail. Let me go on to the other developments earlier today. Now, a few days back, we mentioned that the University of Hawaii system, to include its main campus on Manoa, the satellite campuses in other parts of the state, and the community colleges, will not conduct their traditional springtime commencement ceremonies. Earlier today, the University of Hawaii announced that all of its 10 campuses will be closed to the public effective immediately, except for students and employees. In other news, there will be a pop-up drive at the parks at Kaka'ako, co-sponsored by the City County of Honolulu. The pop-up drive will be set up for drive-through testing of COVID-19 that will take place tomorrow, the 21st of March, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Hundreds, if not thousands, of residents are expected to show up. Starting earlier today, all restaurants on Oahu Island, where I'm located, have been ordered to provide only takeout, pickup, and delivery. All dine-in services, their eating facilities, even food courts, will be off limits. In fact, we provided photos and videos in our Twitter account, Eagle News Hawaii, of dining facilities, restaurants, food courts, in which the food stalls themselves were open, business as usual, but they can only provide grab and go, so customers could not eat in that area. Starting today also, Kauai County enforced its island-wide curfew from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Now, by CDC guidelines, eye doctors and dentists are considered secondary and have been urged to shut down. In fact, our own optometrist, our family optometrist, gave us a memo saying that they will be shutting down services until further notice. Now, according to one Hawaii optometrist, the governor should have already ordered a shutdown, but most, if not all, should have already done so. Now, there's also talk amongst the medical community here about this drug called Plaquenil. I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. That's being floated as a possible cure for COVID-19. This was intended as a drug to fight malaria and is used to treat inflammatory diseases. I believe this was made back in the 1940s when malaria cases were rampant, especially during World War II. And of course, with any drug, it has side effects. The Trump administration did acknowledge that earlier today. So there's no indication or there's no confirmation whether the drug has been tested for the purpose of curing COVID-19. Now, speaking of the medical community, we also posted in our Twitter page a sample of the new website created by the Hawaii Department of Health. It's called hawaiicovid19.com. Let me repeat that. hawaiicovid19, that's one word, .com. It was actually launched on 19 March and created exclusively to address COVID-19 in the Aloha State. Now let's go back to the topic of tourism, because as I alluded to before, the vast majority of the confirmed cases involve tourist travelers who either transited through here or vacation here. And that recently, well, actually today, triggered a great deal of resentment and protest by residents against the industry, the tourism industry. Earlier this afternoon, there was an anti-tourism convoy that traveled between Honolulu's International Airport and Waikiki. And there's also been some criticism on Governor David Ige by his own cabinet for not acting on stricter measures to stop the spread of the virus. In fact, there's a push to halt advertisements of these airlines and hotels offering discounts that's attracting even more tourists to come here to Hawaii. Now, there could be a possible explanation for this, on why the governor is taking a conservative approach to shutting down or closing off the borders completely. Keep in mind that Governor Ige should not surprisingly should already be studying, reviewing what's going on in the bigger states in the mainland like California, New York, and Illinois that are going through a lockdown, a shutdown, and the effects thereof. And by comparison, locking down a group of islands in the middle of the Pacific is not that similar and probably more complicated than doing so in the mainland, keeping in mind that roughly about 80 to 90% of all goods consumed here in Hawaii come from outside of the state. So it has a lifeline, a bloodline, or of goods and services that have to flow into these islands. And so to have to restrict even travel, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry, would mean a loss of revenue. In fact, the University of Hawaii did provide a study that estimates close to $250 million that will be lost once everything goes back to normal in Hawaii's tourism community. So there's that concern, not so much of the lockdown itself, but the effects that will linger well after this pandemic. So that is the concern right now by the state government is it should at what point does the lockdown or shutdown of its borders really be necessary for Hawaii? So we'll continue to track that type of discussion and see if the state will come up with a unified decision on the way ahead. Also, we posted in our Twitter page a short video of tourists. In fact, we captured this near Hilton Hawaiian Village, that despite the closure of beaches and the absence of lifeguards, people are still visiting Hawaii's coastlines. And we showed a video of one of the beaches overlooking the Rainbow Tower, Waikiki Beach, and Diamond Head. Now, uh, the city county, through the police department, did stress that they have the power to enforce and make arrests. But of course, the concern here is that to what extent does the arm of the law have to, really need to come down to the tourists themselves, who may not have complete knowledge of such restriction. So that's continues to be a topic of discussion and deliberation, uh, so as not to avoid the perception of being the quote unquote bad cop. That is the Honolulu Police Department. So before we close, I do want to uh, tip our hats off to the Hawaii Department of Health for following us on Twitter at Eagle News Hawaii. Eagle News Hawaii. Uh, we uh, we salute them and wish them the best, and to the rest of the medical community here in Hawaii and around the world. For now, reporting from Honolulu, I'm Alfred Asenas, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you.